shot my paw. This truth ain't big enough for the two of us.
In a world where one man's truth is another man's legend. Dun 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 dun.
I got 6 bullets, and they all have knowledge on them. I'm gonna shoot them right between your mystery eyes.
Only one man has the courage to stand up for what's right.
My name's David Flora.
And I'm his plucky sidekick, Dave Stacko.
And I reckon this here town's called Blurry Photos.
Yeah!
Welcome to the Wild West of mystery.
Right. That's right. Facts don't go around here, savvy?
Why, Johnny Ringo, you look like someone just crossed over your grave.
You know, that's an interesting history to that belief. It's a superstition.
Oh, man. Welcome to the
everybody.
blurriest of photos podcasteries.
We've got 6 shooters of goodness here for you. We're gonna go right at the unknown.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna bust in that saloon.
Exactly. And all of a sudden, the guy playing the jingle jangle piano is going to stop.
Piani.
The piano. And we're going to take the drunken idiot of misunderstanding and slide him down the bar through everybody's drinks.
Yep.
We're all going to catch we're all going to catch the clap of understanding from the hookers in the back.
The bordello.
Get the doctor.
Hey, Doc. Got the clap of knowledge again. Well, we're continuing our flawless takeoff of podcast.
That's right.
Starts here for you.
We're so good at this.
Hope everybody's doing okay.
Yeah.
Good show for you lined up.
Yeah, we're excited about this.
But this one's an interesting subject here.
It is, and we've decided to pack up our mystery machine and take a quick flight to South America. In Peru.
Machu Picchu.
Nice! I was going to say no leprechauns.
This episode, we're going to be talking about Nazca Lines, you guys. Nazca Lines. This is something that is out there in the world. It's not completely unknown or foreign to a lot of people. A lot of people may have heard of it. Some of you may not have. So that's why we're talking about it tonight. They're real interesting.
They're really interesting culturally. They're interesting archaeologically. They're interesting, and this is one of those fun things that it shows up in other arguments. It shows up in ufology.
Yep.
It shows up in alternate histories, fingerprints of the gods type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good. This is in just on its own. This ain't no side dish, dog.
It's a main course.
Mm-hmm. This is a meal for a man or a woman. It fills the plate.
It fills you up. It fills your soul.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about what they are, why maybe they are.
Yeah.
Theories that people have about
Who
them.
done made them?
Yeah. What's that all about?
What's
Nazca
all this
Lines.
business with dirt pictures?
This episode on Candy Chat, we're going to talk about pictures made in pixie sticks dust.
You know, I'd be very interested if they made Nestle lines. I'm terrible.
Oh, you're just the worst. Hershey ain't got nothing on them.
Okay.
Sometimes I just dump my Nesquik out and I just draw with it with my finger.
Ooh, that's really delicious. Nesquik lines.
Nesquik lines. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all seen Wreck-It Ralph? There's so much candy in that movie. I can't. We're never going to get to the Nazca lines now.
Sarah Silverman's usually so filthy, but she was great.
We get it, Sarah. We think you're great. Jeez Louise. Pass the peas.
Oh, my God. Well.
Nope, that's it for Nazca Lines.
Yep.
Thanks for listening.
See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Oh man, yeah. Candy Trap is Candy Trap Candy Trap is a trap.
It is
what I was going to say, and it came
Yeah.
out Candy Trap. So,
Well, that was a Freudian slip there, because you're right. It is a candy trap.
all right, you guys, seriously though, Nazca Lines, they're located in Peru, South America,
Yep.
associated with a culture called the Nazca. There were people that lived there. Peru, usually famous for the Incan civilization in the Andes Mountains. Here's what they are. They're an elaborate system of gigantic geoglyphs that are dug into a plateau in the Peruvian desert between the towns of Nazca and Palpa. They've been dated to 400 BCE to 650 CE.
Yeah.
They think that they were made anywhere between that time period. That's
They're older than 600 years, if you can believe it. If you can let me dig that old crappy joke up.
the plateau, or pampa, is over 50 miles between the towns, and it makes a nice little canvas to draw on that's almost 400 square miles
Yeah.
of desert.
Now, it's not just any desert, though. It's way up there.
Yeah.
This is a high desert in the Andes. I mean, the elevation's about 12,500 feet.
Wow.
That is up there. That's around
2
Pikes.
miles.
That's like top of Pikes Peak there.
Yeah.
Joseph.
Wow. These geoglyphs contain hundreds of individual lines. There are geometric figures, and there's distinct drawings of animals, both native and non-native to the area.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah. They were created by scratching away the dark red volcanic pebbles that are on the surface to reveal the pale yellow subsoil of sand and clay beneath them.
Which is pretty lucky for them that they just happened to live on the gigantic high altitude Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah, exactly. On the surface, if you're just standing out amongst them, it just they appear as shallow trenches, no more than 6 inches deep. But from the air and surrounding hilltops, they form designs of things like birds, fish. There's a monkey, llama, lizard, spider. There's even a human figure, and that's just to name a few.
Yeah, there's geometric patterns
Yeah.
as well. There's some
Crisscrossing lines.
Yeah, there's things that don't necessarily line up as geometric, or I mean, there's one like the candelabra.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Something
neither.
looks kind of like a Poseidon's trident or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's a design. Obviously, you know, they tried to do a thing, but what that thing is, who knows?
Yeah.
And you know what else is I think really interesting is meteorologically, it's anywhere else on Earth, and these things would have just been buried.
Lost. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that there's so little going on up there as far as rain events. There's no huge wind that's redepositing this soil. So I mean, it's amazing that they've existed.
Yeah, it's one of the driest places on Earth. In fact, they only get about 20 minutes of rainfall a year. And with the darker stones absorbing the heat from the sun, they kind of create a buffer layer of heat radiation just above the surface, which protects the surface from wind. So there's like this layer of heat that nothing can get down to, so that leaves things untouched on there. And also the surface has a high amount of lime, which hardens when there's either dew or they get, you know, just the smallest amount of rain or anything. It'll harden and kind of glue the rocks in place. So because of this stable climate and all this stuff that's going on with that, those lines have been well preserved.
Every time it rains, it just gets harder.
Just like life.
Why are what?
Yeah, we're going.
Leave the girl alone.
like we I don't know why we're so into these like tough guy voices.
Yeah, it's Old West and film noir this
Yeah.
time. So just to put things in a little bit of perspective for you, they have an image of a condor that's been carved in there that's 440 feet long.
So imagine something that's 220 feet. Now double it. Just to put that into some perspective.
Thanks.
You know that thing that's 110 feet? Lay 4 of them end to end. My God.
You know that thing that's 4 feet long?
Yeah.
How about 110 of them?
Oh my God.
Yeah, you had to do the math for a second, didn't you?
110.
But I'm right. There's a monkey on there that's 310 feet by 190 feet.
Whoa.
Big monkey. And there's a human shape on one of them that's 104 feet long. So this is what we're talking about. These things are freaking huge.
Yeah, they're gigantic.
A little bit about the history of them. There was a Peruvian archaeologist named Toribio Cespe who first brought them to light in the early 30s. He spotted them while he's walking around the surrounding foothills. The full extent of them, though, wasn't apparent until the late 30s with the improvement of flight.
Yeah, which makes a big difference.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill this. I'm going to kill something right now, early in the podcast. You hear this phrase over and over. Oh, these things were made that could only have been seen from aircraft from above.
Right.
That's just patently not true. Mm-hmm. These things were visible. There's other hills in the area. There are places from which these could be seen, and more importantly, planned. And so I just want to put that out there right off the bat, that these are not invisible unless you're flying over them.
Right. I mean, this Toribio guy was walking in the hills that was surrounding them, and and he saw them.
Yeah,
you can see them from the hills. They may not be full on spectacular like you would get from the air, but they are visible. There was a historian named Paul Kosak who is an American. He gets credit for really studying them in the early 40s. And then shortly after he started studying them, he met a German mathematician named Maria Reich, who he challenged to study the lines with him.
Now, sweet piece of irony, her name is Maria Reich. She was in Peru because she left Germany to avoid the Nazi party. She didn't like what was happening with the country. She got out of there way ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Took a nannying job. She was a student at the University of Hamburg, really smart. Yep. She just very driven, but she did not like what was happening politically in her country, even though her last name was Reich, which was kind of interesting. And that's actually how she found herself in Peru. She took a nannying job with a family that had lived there, and she kind of set up shop doing translation work and things like that. So they got very fortunate to have this very well educated and very focused woman show up.
Yeah, and then when those two meet, and she immediately becomes enthralled with these lines and what they mean and stuff. So by 1945, she had moved to the town of Nazca so she could be closer to the lines and actually devote more time to it. And when I say devote more time to it, I mean she devoted the rest of her life to their study.
Yeah.
Until her death in 1998, she lived there and studied those lines.
Fun fact about her life. So part of studying the lines is that she wanted to preserve them, so she was going to kind of clean them, make sure that she bought brooms, and she actually got into a little bit of trouble for a while because the locals thought she was a witch because she was going through so many brooms.
She went through so many brooms. They were like, "Oh,
ay Dios mío, el diablo."
What is witch in Spanish?
I don't know.
El crone.
Podcast is
all right.
over.
Time for you to go home.
Yeah, and it's embarrassing. I lived in Ecuador for a while, and my Spanish is non-existent.
Did you know it at one time?
No, you know what? I wasted my time. I studied French in high school and college, which I don't want to go to France at all.
Yeah.
No interest.
Yeah.
But their Romance languages, they were close enough.
Sure.
That I could get through the day. Like, I would understand what people were saying to me approximately. I could count out money, things like that. But no fluent Spanish speaker was I. Besides, I was letting my hips do all my talking.
And those hips don't lie.
No, we've established that. I hope that we get enough fans that someone's going to go through and see how many Shakira comments I make, and really to see how often Shakira shows up in this podcast about ghosts and Spring Hill Jacks.
She's everywhere. What a delight.
Good God.
What a nice young woman.
What a gift. What a gift that we've been given in Shakira.
Gift to humanity.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the South Central Eastern Baptist Church. And today's sermon's entitled, What a Friend We Have in Shakira. What a gift the Lord has bestowed upon us in this gyrating siren.
Gyrating siren. My soul have been saved. by this she-wolf that's in the closet. Amen.
But she wasn't a witch.
She wasn't
She
a
was
witch.
a very dedicated researcher who did a lot of great work, really established the foundational research on the Nazca Lines.
Yeah, because of her, the lines were declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1995.
And everybody knows you do not f*** with UNESCO. You don't, dog.
Researchers have been able to replicate the lines accurately, though, with simple tools and just some math and planning. They can make one of these things in a couple days.
Yeah, it's not...
Not hard to do.
No, it's kind of weird that something that can last 1,000 years. You know, if you're willing to take a 2-week vacation, stop at the Home Depot on the way, and boom, you just
pick up a dowel rod and maybe some string and a good high bristle quality broom. In 2012, there were some Japanese researchers that opened a new research center.
It sounds like you're setting up a pun right now. It kind of did.
Yeah, no pun. They actually set up a center to study the lines for the next 15 years.
That's awesome.
So there's plenty of interest in there. Keep it on.
And, I almost wonder, because there's so many circumstances that contribute to them still being around, that we can study them now. I wonder if there weren't more. I mean, there are. I mean, there's mound builders in North America.
Oh, yeah.
There's huge other geoglyphs, going all the way up into North America.
Yeah, they have them in Egypt. They have them in Malta, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Mississippi, they got some mound buildings.
Is that the big snake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chile, Bolivia, they're all over the place.
Yeah, and you wonder, like, wow, how many more were there? These were things that were created in areas that do get substantial rainfall or any erosion forces.
Now in Mississippi, the worst thing you can do, the worst thing you can do is build something you want to last forever, unless it's a Mississippi spirit.
Well, let me tell you something about my friend. Goes by the name of Big Money. Now, he got himself a couple of opinions, I'll tell you that.
He did.
You go ahead, you build yourself a man. You see what Big Money has to say. You get a pass from him, that man will be there forever. You don't get the thumbs up from Big Money, he gonna tear that thing down in 2 weeks straight. Oh, he sure
Lord have
do.
mercy. Go Rebs. So that naturally leads us into
Nothing has naturally led anywhere.
that leads us to why these things were built. These things, we've described them. We've tried to put them into context, tell you what they look like. Why were they built, though? What purpose do they serve? Scratching out pictures in the desert.
Well, because it's awesome. It's like the world's greatest graffiti.
Oh,
If I had the ability to inscribe a giant dong on the moon that the whole world had to stare at, you best believe I would do it. There's no punishment that you could give me that would keep me from doing that.
yeah, but what if you didn't even know what the moon was? What if you had, like, stone tools?
And then I couldn't get to the moon.
All right.
But if I didn't have the moon and I had this high altitude, low rainfall plateau that has like 3 inches of dark soil over like bright yellow soil, that's a gigantic coloring book, I would not have made monkeys or hummingbirds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Their priorities lay in a different realm.
You know what? It's different strokes for different folks.
Yeah,
Cultural
exactly.
differences make the world go round, and I guess I can't blame them for being primitive. They're not as advanced to here in the new millennium to realize that the ultimate human expression is a giant dong.
The real reason is unknown. Nobody really knows why these things were drawn into this desert. There's a slew of explanations that have come and gone, though. For why these things are. Going back to Kosak and Reich, they said it was related to astronomy, that the geoglyphs were like an observatory pointing to spots on the horizon where celestial bodies rose or set.
Uh-huh.
The equinoxes and the solstices, things like that. It was determined once in the 60s and then again in, I think, 1990, that there was kind of insufficient evidence for that.
That would only work if they had established a single point of perspective. Mm-hmm. Like if there was something in the middle, because depending on where you stand and look, they'll point to different areas.
Oh yeah,
so
you can have them point to anything.
Right. So you would have to have some universally understood point of perspective. So yeah, I can see why you could say, well, maybe maybe they knew that. Maybe for each creature it's different.
Yeah.
And so maybe those are like highly accurate, but without knowing that, it's impossible to tell.
They also said it could be constellations, but then again, you get to the problem of you can look up in the night sky and make out any shape in the stars. You just find the stars that match what you're looking for and draw whatever shape you want. So that it's kind of like a good swing, but maybe a swing and a miss.
Yeah, agreed. I get that.
They still defend to this day, followers of these guys and their ideas. They still defend this idea, but yeah, it's like not having a fixed point is really going to hinder that argument. It could, and maybe they found a fixed point since then. I don't know, but just plugging those glyphs into computer models and throwing them on the night sky, they had random and mixed results from that.
Yeah, and it doesn't quite match up.
What else could it be? Could have been walking paths or tracks for foot races. This one's interesting. On the surface, it kind of sounds lame to me, that it's just, people just walked around them. Well, why would they walk around them? What purpose did that serve? And why did they think that that's what it was? I mean, they have different ideas for why they would have walked or run around them or stuff like that. One of the most interesting things I've heard is that some people have taken a cross-section of the soil and found that under the soil where it has been scraped away, the dirt is very impacted and very squished together. And then the soil on either side of that is looser, much, much looser. So it looks like they have been impacted over and over and over in a way that kind of lends itself to saying, yeah, people walked on this over and over and over.
Oh.
They've compacted that soil down underneath there. Ultimately, why would they do this? What would be the cause, or why would people walk on here? It could be a religious significance, could be a rite of passage, something like that. I've even seen where someone said it could be shamanistic in origin, that if you wanted to become a priest or a shaman of the culture, you had to walk these paths, and then at the end, you had to know what shape you had walked. You had to be able to tell, and that was a way of, in essence, leaving the body to be able to see what that was, or be able to tell. So, if you could tell it correctly, then you progressed as a shaman. Or
yeah, I read something very, very similar to that. It was a theory that there was almost kind of a very large equivalent of the rosary beads. That walking the pattern was a meditative exercise, and that people would walk the pattern in order to show piety or respect, but also as a
meditative thing?
Yeah, exactly, as a way to occupy yourself while you focused within.
Interesting. So that, like I said, on the surface, it seems kind of dumb. Oh, people just walking around these shapes. But then when you put it in context like that, that does make a lot of sense, I think. Here's one that was weird to me. Some people say it could have been used for laying out threads for weaving. Now, apparently there were a culture that was very big on textiles.
Yeah, they had alpacas, they got cotton.
Yeah, and they practiced mummification, and they would wrap their dead in these long wrappings. So some people say that the textiles, the material was laid out along these patterns depending on social class or significance, importance in society, and the more important the glyph, then maybe the more important person got the wrappings out, something like that. Does that make?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like they would lay the yarn out.
Yeah, isn't it? It's weird to think about that way.
Yeah,
it sort of makes sense, but then again, it's kind of like, why?
Right?
Why this way?
Yeah, like that seems so over elaborate.
Yeah. More elaborate than it should be, or in a way.
Yeah, and I guess for some of the more geometric patterns, maybe. But what is gained by making a
hummingbird?
Right. These are really irregular patterns, and so that doesn't really. They
even have a whale on there. I mean, they have here's the thing: they have a spider that's pretty famous. Some people have said that this spider is not native to this area. The spider and all of these figures, they're very artistically
stylized.
Exactly. Now, for somebody to say the spider is not native to this area, they're saying, well, there's a type of spider that's in the Amazonian rainforest that is exactly like this. It has a small waist kind of thing. It looks just like what they've drawn out here. So they're saying, well, how did these people know about the spider that is very hard to find in the Amazonian rainforest, even today, and how to travel down across the Andes down to Peru, the coast? I don't know.
And I mean, what is, like, to my mind, what is more likely, that they found some exceedingly rare brand of spider and did this, or that they added a pair of legs to an ant?
Yeah.
Because everything else about this thing just screams ant all day.
It's true. It's got, what, 3 sections of body?
Yeah, there's the
For
head, thorax, and abdomen.
Weird.
And so it's, and everything else about it just says ant. So I don't know. And there's that weird runoff of one leg.
Yeah, which they are saying is the reproductive organ of the spider. It's a special thing that's only found on this spider. Apparently, its back right leg has this reproductive organ, and it's microscopic. So how did they know that it was a
Okay, I'm
So the weaving thread, it's kind of weird, but it's been put out there. The most debated theory that's been put forth is by a Swiss author by the name of Erich von Daniken, who I think we've mentioned before.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I was just going to say that. That does sound familiar.
He claims that these things are runways for an ancient extraterrestrial airfield.
Oh, that's why we've heard of him before.
Ancient aliens.
Yeah.
He wrote Chariots of the Gods.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, Chariots of the Gods guy. Yes.
Yeah.
Runways.
Interesting guy. He's very much a proponent of the ancient alien conspiracy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that
The ancient alien theory.
I was going to say, I think they would call it a theory. What do you think of them teaching theories as fact in schools?
With this theory, it comes up with a couple snags here. First and foremost, people make the argument that if there are extraterrestrials that have mastered interstellar travel, how do they not have a vertical takeoff and landing capability?
You know what? I will actually give you an answer to that question.
Okay.
They do.
Oh.
But no, I mean, I'll say this from a fuel economy perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to know that, like, it takes literally, so when you launch a rocket into space, you have to get that rocket going in excess of 20,000 miles per hour in order to achieve orbit, which is huge. That's a lot of speed.
Mm-hmm.
Functionally, and just because this matters, like, orbit is a function of speed. It means that you're going so fast that you are falling towards the Earth because of gravity, but the Earth is curving away from you. So you're constantly falling, and that's what orbit is. That's how that works.
Yeah.
And in order to land again, say, take, for example, the space shuttle. It gets up to, I think I want to say it's like 22 or 25,000 miles per hour. It gets up there. But if it wanted to, if we as a bunch of people wanted to have it land just like a rocket, we can do that. But you have to slow it down again. And this is, you're in, low Earth orbit. To slow yourself down requires exactly as much fuel as it took to speed yourself up.
Oh, wow.
And so the way we've solved this problem, because that means that now you have to take twice as much fuel. We barely can get into orbit with the fuel we have. It's just, It's not as energy efficient. In order to land for free without having to spend fuel, we use the Earth's atmosphere to brake. We use the friction of the atmosphere to brake, which is why we need the heat shield and the tiles and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And so we just literally take a trip about 3/4 of the way around the planet, just converting our kinetic energy into heat and just burning off our speed and using the atmosphere to slow us down, which is why the space shuttle is a glider.
Mm-hmm.
It just glides in and it lands. It has no brakes. It has no extra fuel. It has no other options but to come and land. And the same thing with the Apollo capsules. Again, it used the atmosphere to slow itself down. I mean, it could have just dropped straight down. Wouldn't have worked out for the crew.
Yeah.
But we use that atmosphere to slow ourselves down. So I will give that some credibility because it is so much more fuel efficient to land using the atmosphere as opposed to just dropping down.
True. Again, though, that is only if the extraterrestrials were using a fossil fuel type propulsion system.
True.
Right?
I cannot believe I'm not really arguing on behalf of the Ancient Aliens guys.
Oh, I like it. Because most people don't.
But consider again that any interstellar propulsion system, and interstellar, I mean like any propulsion system that operates in space, almost guaranteed wouldn't operate in atmosphere, and vice versa. I mean, all of our jets work on burning the abundant oxygen in the air. When our rockets go into space, we have to bring oxygen with us to let them burn. So that's why you have things that they are developing now: solar sails, ion engines.
Ion doesn't need oxygen to do that, right?
Right. No, you're just
even
exciting
fission or fusion engines.
Right. Nope, they don't need it either. And so they're working on those things. But, and again, since this is just nothing but supposition, you could say, oh, but they're so good at it that it would work in the atmosphere. A solar sail certainly isn't going to work in the atmosphere. The ion engines that we've worked on wouldn't work in the atmosphere. They don't provide enough thrust. They provide an inordinate amount of thrust in a zero gravity environment.
Yeah, no friction.
Yeah, but when you're dealing with an in atmosphere, there's a lot more things on deck. I'm just saying, if you can't game what an alien civilization would have available, it really could be that they are the greatest stellar voyagers in the universe, but the engines that they're using to achieve that still are terrible at landing actually on a planet.
Which makes me think, well, what if they have something that can manipulate electromagnetic force? That you don't need to worry about any friction, gravity, anything like that. You're playing off the magnetosphere that we have around the planet anyway.
Right. I mean,
electromagnetic energy is everywhere.
Or they could have found a planet that's made entirely of peeps, and they have the most efficient peep burning engines in the world. And that's what they use.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that they didn't have to worry about landing because they just come through the atmosphere and let it drop and then bounce safely.
Yeah, that too. That's the thing about the
next on Planet Bouncy Castle.
Those kind of arguments, they don't really hold any water in either direction, because you're like, oh, well, what would the aliens have?
Apparently,
oh, really?
peeps hold vodka pretty well. Did you hear that?
No.
You soak a peep in vodka for a few days, and then you've got a nice, tasty adult Easter treat.
Is it? I don't want to eat a regular peep, and I don't want to drink regular vodka.
I'm not a big peep fan, so I'm not going to be trying that.
No, but I am glad that we discussed this, because I read a lot of Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he's taught me a ton about space and rockets.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that I just got to talk about that.
The peep idea, thanks Mel Evans. That comes to you straight from our friend Mel Evans.
Is she a peep believer?
Well, she knows the recipe to soak peeps and gummy bears and champagne, apparently.
No way.
Yeah, listen to An Hour with Your Ex. I don't know that they talk about that, but
yeah, I was going to say I do all the time, and I've not heard any.
We're friends, and it's come up. So,
well, we're just going to have a podcast dinner party, record the whole thing.
You know what we're going to have?
What?
Candy chat.
With special guest Mel Evans. Now, I know what you're thinking. Candy's for kids. Well, we've got some after-hours treats that'll really make your adult socks roll up and down.
Not too late. I like to get up and watch Good Morning America.
Well, you're going to have a screaming headache, and you're going to spend all night rolling around in your own sick, Tabitha. Because if there's one thing I know, once you smell liquor, you can't stop.
Is that what happens, Betty? Because I thought that was you, and you're talking to a mirror. Snap, burn. Snap, burn.
Oh, we do have fun.
Oh, it's so great. Your hair looks great.
I just love that dress you're wearing. I cannot wait to get drunk from Candy.
Candy chat.
We have spawned a genuine monster.
It is. It's a hydra.
With Betty and Tabitha.
I feel like Betty's got better burns than Tabitha, for sure. But
I don't
whatever.
know. They both just get so angry.
You know what else is bad for the landing there is the soil is so soft. It would make for a good landing strip. It's also... This is something that people have argued. They say, well, it's in the middle of nowhere. Why would they want to go there? Blah, blah, blah. You know what? The majority of northern Africa, vast desert. Right?
Yep.
They're figuring out that used to be one of the most lush places on Earth with a ton of water and a rainforest.
Yeah, it's a huge thing that wasn't always the way we see it, and that's hard for us to see, you know. And it's the same thing with the quote unquote runways. There's a bias in your mind to see things the way you're accustomed to, and so from the air, yeah, those look exactly like intersecting runways. They do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they were, and it doesn't mean that you gin up a concoction of oh. And I'm going to further enforce my own bias by saying, oh, yeah, no, it's a runway for a futuristic alien race that lands their aircraft in the way that I'm comfortable with.
Right. And I could board it myself.
Right.
As long as I pay Delta.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's in the same thing when you talk about these huge differences in time. You know, climates change and drastically sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It would seem that for the last, 2,000 plus years, the climate has changed very little in northern Peru.
Right.
But, that's, again, why would they go there? I don't know. They're aliens.
Who cares?
Maybe
that's not something that's an argument.
Yeah, maybe they're actually robotic alpacas.
They love it. That's their home.
They're like, oh, thank God we found it. Look, we found these weird alpaca-shaped squishy things. Let's land there. I don't know. That's why you just it's such an asinine thing to get into.
Right. All that is. The explanation du jour, though, the one that's popular these days,
l'explication française,
is that they were religious in nature. These things are the natives were dependent on water from the Andes, and they drew these geoglyphs to encourage their deities to produce water for them, or to make water available at least. The paths could have led to spots to worship the deities in the symbols themselves. So could have been, because a lot of these either face the Andes or are very clear from the Andes. They think that since that's where they got their water source to begin with, the things that they drew encouraged the water to come from them. I don't think it worked out very well. But,
but you know what, though? I mean, if you... I would always go with religion. You want to get a lot of people to put a lot of effort into a thing that no one's going to understand?
Again.
Babadaboo. Gobekli Tepe.
Yeah, the shamanistic walking rituals that we just discussed, that's a pretty good call. Now, here's some fun stuff that I read. There are local legends that spoke of an ancient culture that was older than the Nazca people, which is to us 2,000 years, right? And older than the Incan cultures as well. These legends included a white-robed, bearded white man who was kind of like a scientist healer figure that went around and taught people all kinds of technology and healed upon touch and preached to people to be kind to each other and to not fight, to not cause injury at all, either mentally or physically. Mm-hmm. And they spoke of an old civilization of white men with auburn hair, and also a flood myth around the time.
Huh.
And they're saying the lines could have been older than the Nazca and part of this civilization. And maybe they either continued, through tradition that they didn't know why they were drawing these lines. They just did it because that's what they'd always done. Or they were there and they just left them alone or preserved them. It could have been drawn as a memorial to the flood.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there is no arguing. We're going to have to do flood myth.
Oh, yeah.
There's no getting away with that.
It's like gangrene at this point.
Yeah, I like that.
There was an American airline executive named Jim Woodman who proposed a theory that the Nazca used hot air balloons to make these lines. He was actually able to replicate a balloon from available materials and technology that they believed the Nazca had at the time. And he actually flew in this balloon for a little while. But,
really?
Yeah, he put together the material and basically just dug a big pit, fire pit, and filled the balloon with that hot air and flew for a while in it. Huh. He was successful. It was
right.
That doesn't matter in the context of why these were built, but he showed that, that's a possibility of maybe why they could have been seen from the air or how they could have been seen from the air.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take that. I mean, yeah, I give full credit to that because, yeah,
If you can prove it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can prove that it's possible, then why not?
Why not? Here's a fun one. They could be markers for subterranean water flow. The trapezoids, they say, show how broad the streams of water were under the ground. Zigzags show where they ended. Lines show the directions the water was flowing in. So it's like underground rivers and things like that, which would have been very important to them, seeing as how they lived. These civilizations, they live next to the rivers in the area.
Everybody has to, right?
This desert is between two rivers. It's basically the valley in between the rivers. And these civilizations lived along the riverbanks and stuff. Well, if they wanted more water, then why not look underground? You know, they could have looked for underground sources or whatever. They could have. The basic thing is they're using the premise of dowsing to find the water sources, and that they drew these lines out of that. That's one of the more kind of out there explanations of why they were drawn.
I mean, which again, to these people, water, pretty big deal.
Big deal, yeah. So those are some of the explanations of why they're out there. None of them are spot on, 100% foolproof. None of them are completely dumb. I don't think. I mean, even like you just discussed with the extraterrestrials and the landing strips, like discussing that in the way that we did even puts them up there at least with the textile patterns.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Right. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah, so ultimately nobody knows what these things are for. The Nazca as a culture kind of died out, and they think it may have been due to deforestation that they eventually, the society could not sustain itself
This
anymore.
is one of the few South American cultures that we cannot lay at the feet of the conquistadors. These guys took themselves out of the equation.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you? What's your gut going with on this one?
See, you know what? I am actually I'm comfortable with a mystery. Like,
well, just like Göbekli Tepe, we're comfortable with that being a mystery too. But,
right, but if I got to pick,
yeah,
if I got to pick,
who's your dark horse on this?
No, I'm going with the. I'll be standing in the long line of religious significance. Animal totems, very popular in a lot of other South American cultures.
Sure.
Huge amounts of iconography used. I go with that. I just go with religious significance.
Would this be religious as in wanting help from the gods for the water, or shamanistic?
I'd go shamanistic. I think shamanistic, because if you needed to track the water that's underground, you'd dig holes. And these people needed water. If there was water there, they'd dig holes.
There'd be some holes found.
And keep in mind, these things are ridiculously well preserved.
Yeah.
So well preserved that they've actually found the stakes in some parts that were nailed into the ground to help them in the creation of them. So if and these things again are they're not even 6 inches deep. So if at any point anyone had dug a hole to find water,
there'd be some evidence.
Yeah, and there's no shortage of people investigating this area. So I don't think the water thing holds, because if you think there's water under your feet and you get 20 minutes of rain a year, you're going to make a shovel.
Yeah. That's a fun idea, using, the dowsing idea and stuff.
Yeah, but and if they were dowsing, you'd see a ton of holes.
They have found some pottery that's been broken along the sides of these things. And they're saying, well, that may be lending itself to the idea that people were traversing them on foot and maybe just dropped a pot here or there, whatever.
Evidence proves that they were clumsy.
I mean, I think I would have to go with the same front runner for what they could be. You know, people. I like the idea of priests of the culture or the shaman of the culture having to walk these as a ritual or a rite of passage for themselves, and then figuring out what image they just walked.
Right. I think that's fun. I like that.
That's fun. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, ultimately,
it's like a corn maze, but they didn't have corn.
Maze. They called it maze.
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 Billy Mays here for a maze. It's amazing.
Hey, folks. Do you find it hard to find water in the desert?
Do you want to be accepted as one of the upper echelons in your shamanistic community?
You need Maze by Billy Mays. All right.
Sorry.
Boy, oh boy. Yeah, that's Nazca Lines in a huge geoglyphic nutshell.
High altitude nutshell.
Well preserved.
That's a classic mystery. I love to discuss that because I don't think anyone ever takes the time to just discuss the Nazca Lines. It's always just like this.
Hey, look at that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like people always just tack that onto their ancient aliens argument or mysteries of the world. Oh, this is weird and this is weird and that's weird.
Yeah.
Nazca Lines are weird. Moving on. Like
Yeah.
I'm glad that we discussed that because
too.
it's a really good one and it's fun.
Yeah. If you guys got any thoughts on what, if anything's jumping out to you, like, oh, as they're discussing this sounds like it may be something like this, not like the jackass theories that they're throwing out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, send it to us.
And speaking of jackass theories, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's a few stones we left unturned here.
Yeah. I mean,
and we'll man,
things are very incestuous.
Right.
I mean, in this podcast realm that we're living in, all the ice creams mixing together.
Yeah, exactly.
There's 32 flavors, and you can't pick any one of them out from each
No,
other.
it's just like the biggest 32 flavor Neapolitan ever. And you can't even just dig out the part you like.
But you can dig out some puns.
Oh Lord.
Oh Lordy,
Oh, you sure do. All right, I'm ready.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kick it off.
Yeah, all right. I'm
guy?
Yeah, I am a tough guy. Well, you've gotten to go first the last couple times.
Okay.
So. It turns out that archaeologists in Tennessee have uncovered a very large number 3 that was previously covered by trees, and it's ancient. And below it was the inscription of the Intimidator, and they realized that it was an ancient site, and clearly someone could see the future, recognizing the accomplishments of Dale Earnhardt. And it's called the Nazca Lines.
I'm impressed that you came out with Intimidator.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's good. That lends itself to the theory that it was just a racetrack.
Yeah, that's right. Of the gods, of which Dale Earnhardt is one, and he came amongst man.
R.I.P. Dale.
And he taught us how to fucking rock.
Never forget number 3.
That's right. And then he left. And what are we stuck with?
Junior.
Bobby Labonte.
No, Junior, number 8.
Oh, yeah. You
In the Budweiser car. We don't
Yeah.
want him.
No, just ask Hank Williams Jr. how much the world likes a junior. F you, Hank Williams Jr. F you. You'll never be your dad. And double f you to Hank Williams Jr. Jr., who is a real person peddling that bullshit.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Not even the 3rd or his 2nd?
He probably
What is
goes
it?
by
The
that,
3rd?
but he's still Junior, Junior, Junior.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That came from the heart.
I heard. I felt.
And he's not very busy. He might come here and try to fight me over that.
Also, I've osmosed my NASCAR knowledge from my parents.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
All right, what do you got for me?
All right, I've got an ancient video game console.
Oh, I love this.
Called the Neo Geo Glyph.
Oh, wow. That thing's really expensive.
Is it?
It's like the Neo Geo was like $600.
Oh, geez. I knew one friend that had it. He played there was a lizard game. They tried to have a lizard as their mascot, their Mario, their Sonic,
Yeah.
some lizard. I forget what it was.
Dude, I never knew anyone who had a Neo Geo. Your friend was like loaded rich because that thing was like ridiculous. It was, but this isn't the podcast where we talk about old video games. But.
Well, it could be. I mean, I had a friend also who had a Sega Saturn.
Oh, I had a roommate who had the Saturn, and he even had like a weird import RAM cartridge
For the controller?
No.
Oh. I thought they had replaceable. God, you're right.
You're thinking
This
of the
is
Dreamcast.
I could be, but I don't think he had a Dreamcast. I think he
This
had a
is
Sega
how
Saturn.
willing we are to get off the tracks here.
Robert Baratheon, Game of Thrones.
I like that though. I like the Neo Geo Glyph.
Neo Geo Glyph.
All right. If you're in Peru and you're stopping by, maybe you wake up and you step outside of your home on the high plateau and you just fill your lungs with the ancient air of Peru. And to wake up in the morning, how about a nice steaming hot cup of Nescafe?
Delicious.
Yeah.
Hot, dry,
That's right. It doesn't
dark on top,
Yeah, you don't have to mix it with much water.
light underneath. Nice. Well, March Madness just ended. Great.
It ended for me like a week ago.
Well, great tournament.
Yeah.
Fun stuff going on. I've got a special basketball play that's drawn up,
Okay.
especially for this subject.
Okay.
It's called the Nazca Lines.
Oh, I love it. Does one guy just like flop down on the floor and pretend to be a hummingbird?
They just keep walking around in patterns.
Oh, yeah.
Intersecting trapezoids and
I like that.
oh, that's they do a full court trapezoid.
Oh, perfect. I like that. I got it's not even a bonus one because it's not even a pun.
Okay.
But since I was talking about NASCAR, there should be a degrading sexual position called a Rusty Wallace. I actually just know those off the top of my head.
Oh, I do too. Somehow. Yeah.
I no one that I've ever known has cared about NASCAR.
Yeah.
But I knew those things.
Yeah. Sometimes I just sit and I get all Greg Biffled.
Well, you checkmated me. You got me.
I checked you. I didn't checkmate you. You said you knew more. You got more, I'm sure.
No, that's it. Because I always remember Bobby Labonte because for some reason I always hear it like Hank Hill's voice. Bobby Labonte. And I don't know why I know Rusty Wallace, and I did not know that there was a Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh.
Although I kind of did because I originally wrote number 8, and then I looked it up to make sure I had the right number. It was number 3. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
That's puns for you. Them's just tricky. They'll get you. Look out. Puns will bite you.
It's like your pit crew needs work.
I reckon you need to shave a few seconds off your stop time.
You ain't seen enough checkered flags in your day, son.
Dude, do you know how much money we would make with a NASCAR-themed Western?
How would that work?
I don't care. People would watch the shit out of it.
All right.
Starring Sarah Palin as a single mom out to make a living, trying to make her name on the track circuit.
And Ted Nugent as the coach with the brass balls.
That's right. Damn it, Dixie, get your ass in my office. I'm tired of you tear-assing all over this track. It ain't your personal playground. America. Yeah, and her name would be Dixie.
No, sure.
It's such a great bad idea.
Yeah.
Oh, and Rush Limbaugh as the league commissioner. Now, you see what I said here? I've been saying this all season. You keep driving that way, people are going to get hurt, and no one's going to stand for it. I know I'm not.
That's really good. That's a really good Rush Limbaugh. Have you seen this? Have you seen this lately?
You seen this? I'm reading directly right now from the New York Times. Dixie Haystack is a menace to the motorsports industry, and I cannot have that on my watch.
New York Times said that. I didn't say it.
Where's
my Xanax?
Her name's Dixie Haystack.
Yeah?
And her race car is called the Barn Burner. Dick Cheney as her disapproving father.
Special appearance by Meatloaf. He's the pit crew chief.
Yeah, who dies like in the third race to give everyone else a reason to live.
So, well.
Yeah, you don't have to see the movie. We just gave it to you.
Yeah. If any of you guys have the budget to make that, I guess it's yours.
Although I am copywriting the shit out of Dixie Haystack. That's the best name ever.
I would love it if Dixie Haystacks did a duet with Diggy Toots.
Oh, God.
You know, that country rap.
No, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we've already got... What if Diggy... No, I'm just trying to work a Rusty Wallace into it, and I can't think of how. Something.
Sounds like you're all Greg Biffled.
We refuse to let this podcast end.
Oh, I guess so. Well, thanks for getting through that that gauntlet.
Oh man, that was good though. That was good. There was some fun facts and some facts that were fun, and a whole lot of us dicking around.
If you got a subject you want us to blatherskite about, then go on and send it to us on blurryphotos.org.
Yeah, tell us what to do.
You can even Facebook message us. You can YouTube message us. Oh man, what else are we on? It doesn't matter.
Oh, you can twart us.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can send us one of those twarts, which you can find us at blurry_photos on the twarters. We're also on iTunes.
Yeah,
Find us there, rate us. Yeah, we're on YouTube, Blurry Photos Podcast. That's where you can find us at on there.
Also,
subscribe.
I'm gonna crowdsource this because I'm just not done with it. What would you entitle our NASCAR themed movie? What would the title?
Well, wait,
be?
it's an old Western NASCAR, right?
It's an old Western NASCAR movie. Sarah Palin is Dixie Haystack, a single mom trying to get her life back together and make her dream come true.
I'd call it something like Horsepower, or like Throttled.
Oh, dude, Horsepower.
Horsepower, you like
That's
that?
fucking brilliant.
All right.
Okay? No one send anything in.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it was open and then Dave closed it.
Yeah, but if you like us, send us out there in the world by telling your friends. Just say, hey, those are these bum fucks.
Yeah, listen to these couple of clowns.
Push it on their Facebook. Email them. Tie them up and open up their computers and make all the windows do stuff.
Do it.
You know, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
But we appreciate it, and thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything else for this one.
I think we've prattled on. All right, now you got to find something else to entertain yourself with.
Sorry, guys.
No, it just means you go back and listen to that episode you skipped because you're like, I'm not so sure I'm interested in Gobekli Tepe.
Oh, what's Gabakla Teep? Oh, I don't know.
Go do it. Go check it out.
Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, huge one.
Gosh.
All right. Well, now, you see, people, I've been telling you for months that I'm David Stecco. For months, I've been telling you this, and it's still true today.
I'm David the Intimidator Flora.
Number 3. Tearing up heaven. When your fellow man says to you, show me God, show me mercy, show me benevolence, show me kindness, I point only to this picture I have on my wall of Shakira from her 1999 World Erotic Tour that I had autographed because I was able to get backstage passes by knowing trivia on a radio contest. Look to Shakira.
And the Lord says it was good.
Mm-hmm. Also, I've written some fan fiction about a woman named Shakira who joins the clergy. If you're interested, it's enlightening. Stop that last one. That didn't work.
I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, that's true.